You can instantly tell the second a truly confident person walks into a room. It has nothing to do with what they're wearing or how much money they have, it's just the energy they carry. They stand up straight, look people in the eye, and they move with absolute certainty. Confidence is the single most important trait that makes or breaks your character. You can dress in the most random, unusual clothing, but if you own it and carry yourself with confidence, people won't think it's weird, they'll think it's cool. On the other hand, you could be wearing $1,000 outfit, but if you're slouching, looking at the floor, and acting terrified, you'll completely blend into the background. Confidence gives you immediate respect. If people try to pick on you or test your boundaries, carrying yourself with confidence sends a clear message that you're not an easy target. It changes everything about how you navigate the world. Think about trying to talk to a girl you like. If you walk up to her with zero self-esteem, barely able to spit out the words you're trying to say, you've already lost before you even started. It's the exact same thing if you want to start a business or a personal brand. If you don't actually believe in your ability to succeed or win, how do you expect anyone else to believe in you? When you truly believe in your goals and your worth, failure stops looking like a dead end and just becomes a lesson. But the real question is, where does that feeling actually come from? For me, the very first turning point with confidence started with a physical change. At the ripe age of 12 years old, I absolutely hated the way I looked. I was skinny fat. I felt completely uncomfortable in my own skin, and looking in the mirror genuinely ruined my mood. I was dealing with a massive amount of body dysmorphia, and that ruined my self-confidence. So I decided to do something about it. I started hitting the gym, lifting weights, and actually paid attention to eating healthier meals. I've stuck with that habit ever since. Physically changing my body completely shifted how I interacted with the world. It's not about being arrogant or trying to flex on people. It's just the simple comfort of being able to go to the beach, take off your shirt, or wear a tighter shirt without constantly feeling self-conscious or wanting to hide. When you put in the physical work to build a physique you're actually proud of, that discipline naturally carries over into how you carry your body. You stop trying to make yourself look smaller in a room. Alongside the gym, a massive factor that changed my life is doing martial arts. There's this very specific type of confidence that comes from combat sports. It sounds a bit funny to say out loud, but when you know you can defend yourself, literally beat another man up, your entire perspective on other people change. When you walk into a room knowing that you have the skills to handle yourself in the worst case scenario, the random opinions of people around you suddenly don't matter at all. You don't feel the need to argue, you don't feel the need to prove how tough you are, and you don't get triggered by people trying to talk you down. That confidence doesn't come from a place of wanting to hurt anyone. It comes from the grueling discipline of training itself. It comes from waking up at 5 a.m., going to your Muay Thai gym, running for an hour straight, hitting the pads, and pushing through pure exhaustion. When you survive that kind of hard labor early in the morning, the rest of your day feels easy. You realize that if you can push through a brutal training session, you can handle a tough conversation or a stressful day at school. Another massive reason why we lack confidence is because we all suffer from something called the spotlight effect. When you walk down the school hallway or walk into a crowded room, you secretly feel like there's a giant spotlight shining directly on you. You feel like every single person is staring at your hair, judging the way you walk, or just waiting for you to trip up and make a fool out of yourself. But here's the reality check you need to hear. Nobody is actually looking at you. And I don't mean that in a harsh way. I mean that every single person in that room is so incredibly worried about their own hair, their own clothes, and their own massive insecurities that they don't have a single ounce of mental energy left to care about yours. Everyone is their own main character in their own movie. Once you truly realize that people aren't micro-analyzing your every move, a massive weight gets lifted off of your shoulders. You realize you are completely free to just exist, act natural, and be yourself. The crowd you're so afraid of judging you is actually just a room full of people who are just as nervous as you are. Now, a lot of people think confidence is something you're either born with or you aren't. They look at the popular kids at school or a successful creator online and think, man, I could never be like that. But that's a complete lie. Confidence is a skill. It's a muscle that you build through pure repetition, exactly like lifting weights in the gym. If you want a muscle to grow, you have to put it under stress. To build confidence, you have to force yourself into uncomfortable situations that require it. Think about that one presentation you have to give in front of your entire class. If you lack the confidence to speak in public, hiding in the back of the room will never fix it. The only way to build the skill is to walk up there, do it while your hands are shaking, and get through with it. The exact same thing goes for talking to a crush. You might walk up to her feeling terrified, and you might even get rejected, but the moment you walk away, a massive psychological shift happens. You realize you survived. You realize the worst case scenario happened, and you're still standing. The next time you face a scary situation, your brain remembers that you handled it before, and the fear loses its power. We also need to define what real confidence actually looks like, because a lot of guys get that completely twisted. They look at a creator online, or guys at school, and think being confident means you have to be the loudest person in the room. They think it means you have to talk over people, act arrogant, brag about money, or put other people down just to make yourself look bigger. But that isn't confidence. That's just a mask covering up a deep, intense insecurity. Loud, arrogant people are almost always the most fragile inside. The second someone cracks a joke at their expense or challenges them, they completely lose their mind and get defensive because their ego is paper thin. They constantly need people to look at them and tell them that they're cool just to feel okay. Real confidence is completely quiet. It's the guy who can sit back, listen to people talk, and doesn't feel the urge to prove how tough or smart he is. He doesn't need to flex. He doesn't need to argue. He doesn't need to be the center of attention. He is so secure in who he is behind closed doors that the opinions of random people don't change his mood at all. When you're genuinely smart and capable, you don't feel the need to loudmouth the entire world. A lot of guys get this completely twisted and think that being confident means everyone has to like you. They spend all their energy trying to fit in, laughing at jokes they don't even find funny, or shifting their own opinions just to match whatever the group is saying. They think if they can just please everyone, they'll feel secure. But that's the ultimate trap. When you try to be everything to everyone, you end up being nobody to yourself. You completely erase your own personality just to get a quick nod of approval from the kids at your school who probably won't even matter to you in a couple of years. Real confidence means you are perfectly fine with the fact that not everyone is going to like you. In fact, it's actually a good thing. It means you actually stand for something. Confident people don't walk into a room hoping every single person there likes them. They walk into a room completely fine if they don't. You have your own values, your own path, and your own goals. If someone doesn't vibe with that, it's a reflection of them, not you. Stop trading your self-respect for cheap approval from people who don't even respect you. Now, lately, there's a massive trend on the internet where people are completely obsessed with their appearance. Everyone is talking about looks maxing, changing their face, and focusing entirely on their genetic potential. And look, there is some truth to that fact, and people do treat you differently based on how you look. It's a real factor in life. But if your entire sense of confidence relies on looking perfect in the mirror, then you're building your house on sand. What happens when you have a bad breakout? Or when you're having a bad hair day? Or when you get older? If your self-worth is entirely tied to your appearance, your confidence will shatter the second something goes wrong. True, unbreakable confidence has to come from the inside. It shouldn't come from a superficial trick or a perfect outfit. It comes from an internal anchor, from knowing exactly who you are, what your values are, and what you're capable of achieving. It's the quiet realization that your value doesn't change based off of a single rejection, or a bad grade, or someone else's opinion on you. Stop waiting to feel perfect before you start acting confident. Put in the work behind the scene. Hit the gym, face the uncomfortable moments head on, and trust who you are. I'll see you in the next one, guys.